have been working on a series based on the Chinese meridians. And the meridians are energetic pathways that travel through the body. I mentioned we're going to talk about the major 14. The one I'm going to mention today is the longest meridian in the body, and it governs the back of the body. But before I get into that, you know, just be aware that if you follow and practice along with me, you should always check with your doctor first, especially if you have any issues with blood pressure, such as high blood pressure, if you have glaucoma, if you're pregnant, or, you know, have anything that may, you know, affect you physically in the practice, just to make sure that you have the clearance to do this practice with me. The urinary bladder meridian is the one we're going to talk about today that governs the backside of the body. It's associated with the autonomous nervous system. The autonomous nervous system has two branches to it, the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. So if you think about the sympathetic nervous system, that is the side of the nervous system that we're tapped into when we're busy, when we are feeling driven, when we're stressed. Basically, we live a lot of our time in the sympathetic nervous system, and that gives us a fight, flight, freeze response to things that are coming at us. You know, fight, flight, freeze is something that we can even get triggered by. If we have had a trauma in our past, and all of a sudden we're triggered for whatever reason, I've given many examples in class before. I'm going to skip the examples for this filming. But if you're ever triggered and all of a sudden you go into fight, flight, or freeze, that is your body reacting to that. So the parasympathetic nervous system is where we're calm and cool and collected. We feel harmonious, we feel in balance, we respond to what's happening instead of react. And yoga and meditation is meant to gear us in that direction of the parasympathetic nervous system. So notice whatever style of practice you take on any given day, according to your energy, according to your mood, notice if it drives you into the sympathetic nervous system or the parasympathetic nervous system. It's not always the teacher or the style. It could be that you weren't really present, you weren't really utilizing your breath, or your mind was just out there in no man's land, you know, or still caught up and everything that was typically going on outside. So I want to move through the pathway of the urinary bladder meridian. So it moves to the back of the body. There are parallel lines that travel alongside the spine, and it goes across the low back, and then it shoots down the back of the body through the back side of the leg and lands at the pinky toe. If you want to find the pressure point for this meridian, you can use your fingers or your thumbs. I like to say it's where the little indentions or dimples are at the low back, and I know not everybody has those, but in this general area here, if you move your thumbs in a little circular manner, you'll find it. And usually those acupressure points, and they're called marma points in yoga, can be slightly tender or sensitive. And so if you find that spot in your back, that's usually where it is. So if we're talking about this kind of ruling the autonomous nervous system, we often will, in thinking about it, holding our past wounds, our burdens from the past, anything that has hurt or harmed us, we tend to hold emotionally in the back of the body. This is the yang meridian to the yin meridian of the kidney. So the kidneys and the bladder in Chinese medicine and in the Taoist viewpoint, when there's an imbalance, when there's excessive or deficiency of energy, it is living in that emotion of fear. Some of the things that can perhaps occur from these imbalances are incontinence, dark urine, any type of bladder disease, anything of that nature. So anything that we have a fear of that maybe we don't want to happen again in the present, that may have happened in the past, or that we're hoarding or holding in the back of the body, that fear, if being held inside, turns to tension. And that tension can crystallize and turn into pain. And just think about how many people in the world, but especially in our society, that have lots of pain, chronic pain in the back. So I think this is really important information to know and to work with, because life shows up in the body. I cannot ever say that enough. And stress is going to manifest in the body somehow. We always mention disease, breaking down that word is dis-ease, in our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual body. So that can manifest into disease or chronic pain. It can also lead to low libido, panic attacks, things like that. So that's why we're going to focus on this particular subject matter, because it works through the back of the body. We're going to be working into the back of the body. And I want us to go ahead and start standing. We're going to get right into breathing, right into moving. We're going to do the yogic breath flow. I'll face you for this one. We do this in class sometimes, and when we do it in class, I'll always say, you know, imagine you're a conductor at the front of a symphony. And we're going to do 3 swishes, and you can even imagine, if you don't want to imagine you're a conductor, you can imagine that you are, you know, this magical being, like a fairy, or you have a magic wand, and you're swishing it 3 times, and you're going to be doing a short in-breath through the nose, and the exhale, we're going to pour out and fold over the lower body, so that in essence, we're creating length and a state of openness through the back of the body. So let's begin. First, start standing and grounding through your feet, maybe having them about hip distance apart, because it's usually better to balance. Structure your legs, but you don't have to have them so structured that you're tightening your knees. So your knees can be a little bit soft. When you're ready, let's begin. Fully complete the exhale. Two more. One more. At the completion of your exhalation, just stay bowed over and down, close the eyes, bring a little soft bend into your knees. If your hands touch the floor, instead of locking your arms to impede the lengthening of your back, rest on the back side of the hands so that you can flow down. And again, if you're too tight and your hands don't come to the floor, remember the intention of yoga is not to touch the toes. It's for self-realization and self-liberation. So you can take that out of your mindset. And then I want you to consider the affirmation we use in Uttanasana while you're here. And flood your mind and heart with this positive affirmation. Nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back from being who I'm meant to be. Nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back from whom I'm meant to be. And the next time you take a breath in, I want you to bend your knees. I want you to get really heavy in your feet and scoop up through your abdomen. Continue to pierce the belly in. Continue to push down through the soles of the feet to slowly structure and straighten your legs. And then you can slowly unfurl the back, rising up to the top. Shoulders roll down away from the ears, standing in Tadasana, the standing mountain pose. Now from here, I'm going to turn sideways. You can still face the front of your mat. And we're going to bend the knees. When you bend the knees, you're going to take your hands and prop them down on the legs. We're just gonna bring a little fluidity into the spine. So we're gonna try to take some of that rigidity away. You know, all of us have some area in the back that's probably starting to crystallize and get too tight and too rigid. So let's inhale, let's roll the shoulders back and jet the chin skyward and push back through the tailbone. And as you exhale, start to tuck the tailbone under and scoop the abdomen in and bow the chin to the chest. And then inhale, move into your cow tilt. Exhale into your cat stretch. Inhale into cow tilt from a standing position. And exhale into cat stretch. Do one more. And I want you to consider how this particular meridian correlates back to water. And it makes sense, right? Because the bladder holds the urine before it's released. And so the kind of metaphorical or metaphysical type of lesson that we learn here from this meridian is whether or not we're capable of using our resources and the reservoir of the gifts and talents that we have to carry out our duty in life or our dharma in life. So when you stack and stand on the legs and the feet, stand up nice and tall, roll the shoulders back, lift the sternum up, place your hands to your hips, and we're going to start stacking and standing on the left leg. You want to try to keep that Tadasana form as you lift and extend the right leg up in the air. Zip up through your midriff. Try not to tuck the tailbone. Keep the pelvis rather neutral. When you're ready, you're going to skate that foot through, and you're going to move towards a version of Virabhadrasana 3. Now your hands are to your hips. You're attempting to keep that sacrum even. Reach the arms ahead of you. Have the palms facing each other. It's okay if you're a little wobbly. Bend that front knee. Drop the back foot to the floor and rise up tall with your spine. Reach the fingertips up towards the sky. Crescent lunge. And then exhale, take the hands to the floor. Step back into plank. Look forward with your eyes. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. And wait for the inhale to lift you up. Allow the exhale to roll you back. Really push down steadily through the hands. Open up space between each vertebra. Open up space behind the knees if you have that availability. Take one more deep breath. Remember, we're trying to move towards the parasympathetic nervous system. And the affirmation for this pose affirms that. Calmness is beginning to radiate within every fiber of my being. On your next inhalation, you're going to step the left foot through. You're going to rise up into your crescent again. Yes, it's the same side. From the crescent, we're going to come forward with the upper body. We're going to shift into Virabhadrasana 3, just like we did earlier. Place the hands back to the hips, and we're slowly going to come up. Coming into a version of Padangusthasana D. One more deep breath, and release. Good, once you release, we're going to shift to the other side. So spread the base of the right foot and the toes. Press down through the sole of the foot. Shift your weight onto that right leg. And when you're ready, uplift the left. Zip up through your midriff. Set your drishti. Focus. Breathe. And then as you exhale, slowly skate the foot through. Lean forward, picking that left leg up. Turn the toes down. Reach the arms in front of you on your next breath in. Take your time. Exhale, soften the front knee. Land the back foot and inhale. Pull it up towards the heavens. Crescent lunge. Exhale, take the hands to the floor. Step back to your plank. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Follow your in-breath into up dog. Follow your out-breath to down dog. Hold and breathe. And think about how much space and openness you can give to your back body. This major highway or meridian called the urinary bladder that correlates back towards that emotion of fear. Let's shed the fear. And let's bring in the affirmation for Adho Mukha Svanasana. Calmness is beginning to radiate within every fiber of my being. On your next inhalation, step your right foot through. Rise up crescent. From crescent, take your time. You're shifting your weight out of your back foot into the front. Flexing into the back heel, reaching out through the fingertips. Then hand hold to the waist or hips. Slowly come up. You may have to step the foot down like I did. Extend it forward and out. Breathe. And then release. All right, we're going to play off this for a little bit. Hands can stay to the hips. We're going to station down with the left leg. Pick up the right. When you're ready, exhale into more balance. And breathe. Reach the arms forward. And now tip down. You can have hands to blocks if you need. Or you can take the hands to the floor. And you're bowing your upper body over the standing leg. And you're scissoring the legs apart this time. Pointing that right big toe upward. And then slowly lunge that front knee. Lower the back foot down to the floor. Track the hands alongside the front foot. Pick up through your back thigh. Elongate through the sides of the neck for your low lunge. And from your low lunge, you're going to hop the back foot forward. Sink it thoroughly to the floor. And inhale, float your hands up. Moving towards Parsvottanasana or pyramid pose, take your left hand to your waist. Inhale, radiate the right arm skyward. Exhale, forward fold. Try to maintain some control here. Anchor down through both feet. Continue to pull the left hip back, the right hip forward. As you inhale, rise up to the top. Exhale, bring it right back down. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Now, when you release down with both hands, feel free to latch your hands together behind your back. Your shoulders can roll in towards each other, and your knuckles can lift skyward. If you'd rather keep both hands to the floor and modify or hands to blocks, you can do that. Or you can spill down. Inhale, lift up through your head, rock the right foot back to low lunge, step into your plank. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale to up dog, and exhale to down dog. Slow, deep breathing, and if you feel like your heart rate is increasing or if your breath rate is increasing, you can always sink to child's pose to calm yourself down. Affirming as you do so, calmness is radiating throughout every fiber of my being. On your next inhalation, step your left foot through, then the right. Lift halfway up to Ardha Uttanasana, and then exhale, close back in. Inhale, reach the arms to your sides and up overhead. Exhale, bring hands back to your waist or hips. All right, same thing, second side. Land down through your right leg and foot. Pick up your left. Padangusthasana deep. When you're ready, Virabhadrasana 3. Bending the front knee, landing the back foot, coming into crescents. Reversing that when you're ready. Coming forward, tip down, lower the head and the heart, elevate the back leg and foot. And this time when you're ready, lunge that front knee, lower the back foot, lift your eyes, look out ahead, low lunge. When you're ready, hop the back foot forward, land it down, straighten the front leg, float your hands up. Right hand to the hip or waist. Once you square them off, take the left arm up. And exhale, cement your feet down. You want that firm foundation. You want that sense of security to confidently rise up with the inhale, but also to fold down on the exhale. One. And since we're coming down to stay and remain for a little bit, remember your blocks can be underneath your hands. You can keep the hands to the floor, or you can lace them together, rolling the shoulders in and still bowing forward. Release the hands, lunge the knee, hop the left foot back. Take another vinyasa if you so choose. Pausing here, affirming here. Calmness is beginning to radiate within every fiber of my being. Inhale, one foot, then the other, lifting to Ardha Uttanasana. Shifting your weight towards your toes as you release down. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, recenter. All right, we're going to play around with this again. Hands to the hips. Shift your weight to your right leg. Elevate your left. Padangusthasana deep. I think in another video I showed you if you lift the knee up, extend the leg out, you could possibly go a little higher. When you fold, this time we're going to immediately take the hands down for that form of standing split. We're going to lower the back foot to the floor, be on the ball of the foot, straighten the front leg. And we're going to undulate up and down. I'm feeling really tight today, even though it may not look like it to you. I'm going to use blocks for this, because we're going to inhale, come up, and we're going to exhale, roll down. So think of it being like the wave of an ocean coming up to the seashore. Roll it up on the inhale, and coast it down on the exhale. Again, inhale, ripple up. Exhale, ripple down. Now lunge that front knee. You can lose the blocks. You can step on the hands, stepping into your plank, moving through the vinyasa. You can meditationally walk forward, one foot at a time. Lifting halfway on the arrival. And then exhale, let go. Affirming again, nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back from living to my highest potential. Holding on to the past
past and holding on to those past wounds and being triggered and not extracting the root of those things out that can hold us back. Inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale, hands to hips. Shifting the weight to the left leg. Right leg on the rise. Maybe seeing if you can lift and extend, going a little deeper. We're gonna sail it back, sink the fingertips to the floor or blocks. And then from that standing split, we're gonna lower the right foot down. The toes taste the front of the mat. Try that. Your toes face the front of the mat. And then slowly straighten out through the front leg. All right, from here, I'm much more open here, so I think I'm just gonna keep my hands to the floor. So as you inhale, ripple up. Exhale, roll it down. Inhale, roll it up. Exhale, coast it down. Power of 3. When you're ready, lunge that front knee, step the left foot back to plank. Flow through the practice until you arrive to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, if you want to come through to sit, bend the knees, take the legs out, lower down. I didn't make it through this time, but that's all right. Pull the flesh from under you. Ground your sits bones. Lift the arms up overhead. Exhaling Paschimottanasana. So Paschimottanasana, you're looking forward and out. If you would like to be more yin, you can go into caterpillar, which is softening the action of the feet, flipping the hands open and rolling the head down. I'm going to choose the yin form, caterpillar. Even though we're not going to hold it as long. Inhale, come up. And as you come up, we're going to bring the right foot to the inner left thigh, Janu Shirshasana. We're going to reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, we're going to pour down over the left leg, and you're kind of spinning your belly button over towards the top of the thigh. Slow, deep rhythmic breathing. Inhale, rise. And we'll swap the leg position. And then we'll fold. Inhale up, and exhale, you can wave the arms down. We're going to extend both legs, and we're going to move into a flow. Now, if my hair's tied higher up the head, so this should work fine, but if you have your hair knotted up lower down your skull, you may want to loosen it up and let your hair down, and you'll find out why in a moment. As you inhale, the arms reach overhead. Exhale, we're going right back into Paschimottanasana. This is the more active form. So you are contracting your quads, pushing down through your thigh bones, lengthening through your calf muscles, drawing up and back with your toes, reaching through the navel, through the sternum. And then inhale, come up. As you exhale, you're gonna squeeze in through the belly, and you're gonna lower it down, down, down. And then we'll inhale, fly the legs up, and roll it back to plow. Breathe here. And then scoop in through the belly. Rise up on the in-breath. Fold on the out-breath. Continue to hold and breathe. Inhale up. Exhale, roll it back. Inhale, legs swing up. Exhale, settle into Halasana, plow. Inhale, active Dandasana. Exhale, Paschimottanasana. Inhale up, last one. Exhale, scoop the belly in. Roll it down one vertebra at a time. Your head and hands come down safely. Flip the palms. Lift the legs up on the inhale. Settle into Halasana, plow on the exhale. Some people even like to interlace the hands here. If you want to move to Sarvangasana, you may. I'm not staying in this though. I'm going to roll back out. If you want to roll out with me, plant your hands, or at least your finger pads. Control your core. Squeeze that navel in. Take your time. When you roll down, see if your hands can stack up underneath your seat. Crawl the elbows in, lower your heels, pick up your heart, open up your throat, squeeze and flush through your back. Matsyasana fish. Affirming here, my soul floats on waves of cosmic light. Inhale, lift the head up. Exhale, roll it down. When you release your hands, take a hold of your right knee. Just a light hold is plenty. And then release so that you sink the foot to the floor. When you push down into that foot, you're going to shift slightly towards your left hip. Pick up the right foot, take the hand to the knee, and then open out your right arm. And if you want to turn your head across the right shoulder, you can do that. Inhale, roll back. But remember, we shifted the hips, so once you land the right foot, shift your hips back to neutral. Extend the right leg. Take a moment to pause. Mini Shavasana. Slow down your breath work. So even breathing slowly and deeply can affect us in a positive way, shifting us, gearing us towards the parasympathetic nervous system. Wouldn't it be great if we all lived in that calm, cool, collected space? And then go ahead and cup a hold of your left knee, draw it in. Now for Jatari Parivartanasana, you're going to sink that foot You're going to push into that foot, so you can shift your hips slightly over to the right. And then pick up that foot, take your right hand, hold to the knee, swish it across the body, take the left arm to the side, and your head can stay neutral, or you can spin it to the left. I'll release and let go of all my past wounds and fears. Live from a place of joy and abundance. Gently unroll, turn your head to center. Shift your hips to neutral. Mini Shavasana. So with lots of active yoga practices, you start centering and breathing, you slowly move into the practice, you build up more towards a peak, and then you start to slow it down and cool it down, right? Kind of like our nervous system. Sometimes we get really amped up or anxious, and then we have to discover that and find ways to find our center and state of calmness again. So slowly begin to lift your left leg and just take your hands and cup a hold of the back side. And for some of you, it may need to stay here at your thigh. For some of you, you may be able to slide up towards your calf. For others, you might be able to lace the first two fingers around the big toe. I'm going to keep this casual because, like I said, we're trying to shift to the parasympathetic nervous system. So this is a good time to maybe not be so driven or strive to be anywhere in particular. Leave that for the peak of the practice, the climax of the practice. Excuse me. And then lift your right leg. So I showed you some variations before on the previous side. I'm just going to stay here. You can play around with it and go a little deeper if you choose. So in a practice that we would do together, I might have you create a slide, you know, with the bolster up the blocks or legs up the wall. But since I only have 2 blocks here right now, and if you have 2 blocks at home, you're also welcome to do this. I'm going to set up kind of a T formation, one on its tall height, one on its medium height. And this one on the medium height, I'm going to place in between the shoulder blades to rest on the back rib cage. And the tall block is going to go right underneath the head. So it's creating a back bend for me in a restorative way. Rest your eyes. And purposely slow down your breath. And since we're trying to banish fear, I want you to gaze in and up to your mind's eye. I want you to consider a biblical quote. If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be filled with light. If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be filled with light. So what you can try to imagine, if you enjoy visuals, is gazing into the mind's eye and imagine that every time you breathe in this clean, pure, angelic light. And every time you breathe out, imagine that any trapped fear that's been building into tension or any type of pain is beginning to exit out with the breath like smog or smoke. Inhaling that beautiful, clean, pure, angelic light. And exhaling any fear or crystallized tension away, picturing it being like smog or smoke. Breathing in a clean, pure, angelic white light. And breathing out any fear, any past wounds or hurts or pains away. Continue to gaze in and up to the mind's eye, affirming. If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be filled with light. And so it is, and let it be so. Place the hands to the floor, peel your way up. And when you come up to sit, sit comfortably. Bring your hands to Anjali Mudra, prayer position at your heart. Push the thumbs into the top of the sternum. And just gently bow your head, giving reverence towards all the yogi and yoginis who pass down this knowledge of yoga and pranayama and meditation and mindfulness. Give reverence to all the doctors and scientists who have been researching its benefits. Give reverence towards the creative life force that flows through everything and everyone. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.